Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Curious World of MrRay. Really hope you enjoyed the TV shows segment for this week. There were a lot of great shows that I've had to narrow it down to fit everything into this episode, and some of them I picked because they were they're amazing shows, and some of them I picked because they're just so obscure that they've almost been completely forgotten. And although they might not be the best, I'm thinking of you scavengers, sorry, but so although they're not the best, these shows shouldn't be forgotten. Now, yeah, the radio show, doubt very much you'll have listened to that straight away. It's like 5 hours long, the entire series, but like I say, if you get a chance to listen to that, then Catherine Parkinson is fantastic in it. Like I say, there might be a few other voices that you'll recognise as well. Julian Ryan Tutt, he's an amazing actor. You probably know him from a few movies in America, perhaps, but he'll be in a TV series that'll be showing very soon, maybe even next week, I think. So look out for Julian Ryan Tutt. His voice is in that. Someone else that I should definitely mention, considering that I was mentioning Doctor Who in the first part with the fez and the bow tie and me being a time-travelling Scotsman, well, budget time travel. We also have another famous Doctor Who, Peter Davidson was in Welcome to Our Village, Please Invade Carefully. Peter Davidson, a great Doctor Who, father-in-law to David Tennant as well. How mad is that? You know, like Doctor Who's own father-in-law. That always made me laugh. But yeah, just really hope you check out that radio show. And before we move any further, something that I've been desperate to do ever since I realised what this setup I have with my phone and the spring and everything. In honour of Star Trek Continues, another show that I really hope you watch because it's truly a spiritual continuation of the original series. I've never seen anything come close to it in terms of, you know, absolute fan dedication and purity for the love of the original source material. You're not going to get better than that. And in honour of that show, something that most people will sadly never see, I fear, I'm about to show you something. She can't take much more of this, Captain! The dilithium crystals are going to explode! There we go. That's Scotty from an actual genuine Scottish person. I hope you enjoyed that, sci-fi fans. Sitting in my red chair, just doing a Scotty. So, moving on, we've got some absolutely fantastic shows lined up for you for part 2 in the animation section. Starting things off with a nice little short episode from a TV series that was called Exo Squad. This little animated show was so far ahead of its time. It would have main themes in its show that wouldn't be discussed in mainstream sci-fi for another 15-20 years in some cases. Things like exoskeleton technology and cloning goes into some really deep moral questions. Like, the whole thing is about the human race fighting against a race of clones that were bred as a slave race, as a serf race to mine on Mars, or, you know, it's just really, really, like, quite dark themes and tackled in a really interesting way. But Exo Squad's the first thing that we've got up in the lineup for our animated shows in this episode. For the second thing, for the Curious World of MrRay sci-fi special, we have a show called a short movie called The Body Electric. Now, this was like a Canadian production. It was made as kind of like as like a filler, think like MTV kind of thing, but it wasn't for MTV. It was like a Canadian TV show. But this movie is like incredible. It's like a short. It's about half an hour or so, and seriously mind-blowing visuals, fantastic music. Like the audio track for this is just par excellence, you know, just fantastic music for this wee short movie. And honestly, it gives me heavy metal vibes. It's one of those things that's like, when I saw it and I watched this, I was like, how did I not see it before? And I've been doing the rounds with it recently, you know, just like showing it to different people and folk that are, I feel like, that are in the know, and some of them have never even heard of it. So really excited to show you The Body Electric. Hope everyone enjoys that sci-fi gem. Next up we have Star Chaser, The Legend of Orion. Now, Star Chaser, Legend of Orion, this is another beautifully animated series, very much in the vein of heavy metal, highly inspired by Star Wars, which came out a few years earlier. Like, seriously, like, there's a Luke Skywalker analog, there's a Han Solo analog, you'll even find a lightsaber analog. But having said that, despite all of these things, it still manages to feel completely unique within its field. You'll see what I mean. Like, although there are analogues to Star Wars, it feels unique, and it's definitely its own story. It has some amazing concepts and ideas in it. Just a brilliant animated fantasy movie. Moving on from Legend of Orion, we've got Fantastic Planet. This is an amazing French film from the 70s. Beautiful art, really, really cool story. Like, humans are kept as pets by these giant aliens, you know, we're considered basically like we would consider a hamster or a pet mouse, you know. We're not considered to be intelligent beings, and it's a great little animated sci-fi that really makes you think about our place in things, and how much we really understand and what we ascribe intelligence to, you know. And just a really great sci-fi that makes you think like any great sci-fi should. Next up on the list, we've got another French movie that was a French film, a French production. I've looked out the English dubs in both cases for you. This one is Time Masters. I watched this when I was really young, and it stuck with me. Now, clearly I've got quite a good memory. There's a lot of stuff that I've watched when I was young that stuck with me, but there are definitely things that I saw at a really young age, and they had to be good before they would have stayed with me as long as they did. It's certainly long enough that I was into adulthood where I wanted to go back and find these things again. So Time Masters, phenomenal film, and one that I've loved since I was about three or 4 years old. Just, you have to watch Time Masters. Next up, to conclude the animation section of the episode, the sci-fi special, we have 3 Japanese anime movies. We've got Lensman Secret of the Lens. I love that this is on YouTube, primarily because this was my first ever anime movie. My first ever anime series I ever saw was Ulysses 31. Absolutely phenomenal show. Hope you check it out on Nostalgia Street on Saturday. It's often playing over there. It's such a great show, Ulysses 31. That was my first introduction to anime that I can remember. But my first movie was Lensman. Years later, I would see Akira. And wow, that's a whole other animal, Akira, but I'll stay on topic. Lensman, absolutely beautifully animated film, great story. Hope you enjoy it. Next we've got Rojin Z. Really, really cool sci-fi, but like drama, really, as much as anything. It's a very human story set in a future age where technology is taking over, almost at a point that we're at the moment. You know, we're really moving along, and Rojin Z definitely foreshadows our not too distant future at this point. To round it out, the final thing, Cyber City Audio. This was a 3-part mini-series, but all 3 parts are together. It makes a terrific movie. Wow. Really hope you enjoy the animated section coming up. Before I go, I would like to share with you a curious thought. Now, I'm of a generation that grew up watching science fiction and dreaming of the future. And here I am now, a middle-aged man, and many of the things that were sci-fi back then have come to pass. And there's one movie in particular that I would like to discuss, and that movie is Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone. Now, there's a great number of things that that movie got right on the nose in a spooky way. Everything from it suggested that Arnold Schwarzenegger would become president. Now, that didn't happen, but he famously became the governor of California. The governor himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger, so close but no cigar. But then there were things like social trends changing, you know, people becoming a little bit more sensitive, and feelings becoming more relevant than facts, and all these kinds of things that gets that scary accurate. But the one that scares me the most, and the one that I was looking forward to the most, was vid screens. Ever since like Star Trek, the ability to have a conversation with somebody face to face was something that I looked forward to immensely. And we are now living in that age where we can have a live conversation from other sides of the world face to face, and I just love it so much, because to me it still feels like science fiction. Now, granted, I'm out in the rural parts of northeast of Scotland, and it has been mentioned that we're a little behind the times, and I know myself that I haven't really actively involved myself in technology for a good decade or so. So all of this just blows my mind, and I love it so much. And my curious thought is this: with so much that Demolition Man got right, when is it, do you think, that we're going to get the 3 seashells? And how do you think they're actually going to work? Leave your answers in the comments. Your guess for when we'll get the 3 seashells, because so much of the rest of that movie got it right. I'm just waiting now. Goodbye toilet paper, hello 3 seashells. So, with that being said, I'll see you in the 3rd part, where I'm really excited. I'm featuring an entire series of the works of Gerry Anderson. What a legend. Starting the ball rolling on that one with the documentary. But until then, enjoy the animated section, and I will see you in part 3 for the Gerry Anderson feature. Enjoy, everyone. See you soon.